I've dedicated the last 3 years of my career to one thing: sending texts. And in that time, I've sent well over 1,000 campaigns and closed over 300 high-ticket deals using text as my only sales channel. And naturally along the way, I've learned a ton about what actually makes SMS marketing work. But when I first started, I completely sucked. I was sending texts and getting 0 replies, messages marked delivered somehow still ended up in spam, leads replying stop before they even read what I had to say, phone numbers getting blocked left and right, and I was spending hours grinding through the A2P registration process with no idea what I was doing wrong. So if I could go back and give myself some advice, here are the 15 things I wish I would have known in order to stop getting ignored, start actually getting responses, and close a boatload of deals using nothing but SMS. Alright, number 1, your texts get filtered just like email. I used to send text, see a delivered status on every single one, and I genuinely thought that 98% of people were seeing and opening my texts. That's what I believed for a very long time, and honestly, that's what it used to be like. That's until iOS 26 dropped last year, and Apple basically flipped the whole game upside down. They introduced inbox filtering, the same exact thing that Gmail does with email. Texting now has a main inbox, it has an unknown senders inbox, and a junk inbox, and I had no idea. I was sitting there watching my campaigns go out, thinking that leads were seeing my messages, while in the background, they were landing in folders that nobody ever opens. And that stung because the texts were delivered. The numbers looked fine, but nobody was seeing anything. The fix sounds simple, but it completely changed how I think about SMS. I stopped caring about delivery and started caring about placement. Because delivered means nothing if it doesn't hit your lead's lock screen. The lock screen is everything. That's the notification. That's the interruption. That's the moment your lead actually sees your message. Anything that doesn't make it there is invisible and might as well not have sent it. Number 2, the green bubble is working against you. I used to text every single lead from a regular SMS number, which meant all texts were sent out green. Didn't think twice about it. A text is a text, right? It gets there, they read it, done. What I didn't realize is that 58% of Americans are on iPhones. And if your offer is going after millennials or Gen Z and you're targeting them, that number jumps closer to 80%. And those people, the ones you're actually trying to reach, have been culturally trained to hate green bubbles. Like genuinely associate them with spam, with scam text, with that random you want a prize garbage. And it makes sense when you think about it, because every single business text that they have ever received came from an SMS number. Green bubble equals business, and business equals spam. That's the association. Apple didn't help either. I mean, they've done everything possible to make Android users feel excluded, and green texts are the most visible symbol of that. So I was sending green bubble text to iPhone users and wondering why my reply rates felt off. The message wasn't even the problem. The fix was figuring out which one of my leads had an iPhone and which ones had an Android. And I started to use this tool called SendBlue that plugs right into all of my campaign workflows and detects whether my contact is on iPhone or on Android and sends them the right type of text. An iMessage for an iPhone user and an SMS for everyone else. Blue bubbles to the people who deserve a blue bubble. And I've tracked this across thousands of conversations over 3 years. The data literally isn't even close. When an iPhone user gets an iMessage from you, instead of an SMS, they respond more than 2 times as often. You could see it on screen right here. The blue portion of the graph is the percentage of people replying to iMessages, and the green portion of the graph is the percentage of people replying to SMS. This is the same copy. It is the same offer, same everything, just the right colored bubble. That's it. Number 3, more text doesn't mean more deals. I used to think that volume was the move. You load up a list, you write out one message, you hit send and let it rip to thousands of people at once. I genuinely believe the more people I texted, the more people would see it and the more people would buy. Simple math, right? Well, here's what I didn't get. Carriers are smart. When they see the same message flying out to thousands of numbers at a time, they flag it, they filter it, and they block it. You don't even get a warning. Your text just quietly stop reaching people. And the leads who do get through, they could feel it too. There's something about a blasted message that reads exactly like what it is, a loudspeaker, and nobody responds to a loudspeaker. So I stopped chasing volume and I started chasing conversations. And that one mindset shift changed everything about how my campaigns performed. Because carriers aren't just looking at your message, they're looking at the patterns. A thread that looks like a real back and forth conversation between two people, that is going to pass through. Thousands of identical outbound messages with 0 replies coming back, that's a red flag. The businesses winning at SMS right now aren't sending more text. They're having better conversations. And the second your campaign starts looking like conversations to both the carrier and the lead, everything gets easier. Number 4, shorter always wins. I used to send one big text with everything in it. It had my name, my company, what I do, my offer, my CTA, all crammed into one message. And honestly, I get why we all do it. SMS has always charged per message, so the instinct is to fit everything into one shot. But that one big block of text is killing you in 2 ways. First, carriers flag it. A long, dense message with an offer and a CTA looks like automation because, well, it is. Second, your lead opens it, sees a wall of text from a number they don't know, and close it. Nobody reads that. Nobody responds to that. Here's what I switched to. Nothing over 80 characters. That means if you have a long text, separate your text into 2 texts if you need to. 1 idea per text, 1 question at a time, that's it. Short enough to read in 1 glance on a lock screen, and simple enough to reply without thinking. The easier your message is to respond to, the more people will respond. And when your text looks like something a real person would actually send, carriers stop treating you like a robot. Number 5, sending text too quickly. Okay, this is a quick one. Even when I started sending 2 texts instead of 1, my leads could still tell it was automated. Both messages were hitting their phone at the exact same second. To fix that, I added a 5-second delay between them. On your lead's end, that shows up as a typing indicator, the 3 little dots. And those 3 dots change everything because now they think someone on the other end is thinking and typing. It feels like a real person mid-thought. Number 6, your first text should always be this. It didn't matter if it was a cold lead, a warm opt-in, or an appointment reminder. I used to get a phone number, get super excited, just fire off whatever the campaign was and go straight into it. No introduction, just a message. The problem is that iOS 26 is actively scanning your text for signals of a real one-to-one conversation, and jumping straight into a pitch, straight into a reminder, or an offer to someone who's never gotten a text from you before, that's not a conversation, that's a broadcast. And Apple treats it like one. The fix is simple. Your very first text to any lead, no matter how warm they are, should always be the same format. It should be, hey prospect name, this is Tristan from company name. That's it. Nothing else in that first message. No links, no offer, no questions, no CTA. And while I got your attention, go do this right now on your iPhone. I'm telling you, it's game changer. Open your iPhone settings, go to your Apple ID, and make sure that you have a real profile name and an iCloud photo set up. Then go to your messages settings and make sure the share name and photo setting is enabled and on always ask. It takes literally 2 minutes to do, so please go do it. Because iOS 26 picks up on all of it. And here's the part that most people don't know. When your number has a name and it has a photo and a well-formatted first text, iOS 26 could actually surface you as a Siri suggested contact on your lead's phone. Their iPhone is literally recommending that they trust you before they even replied. And that trust is what gets you into the lock screen and into the main inbox and out of the folders that nobody checks. Number 7, the reply's the game. This one is the biggest mindset shift in all of SMS marketing, and I honestly wish someone had told me this on day 1. Everything we've talked about so far, the introduction, the short text, the delay, the profile setup, all of this is building towards one thing: getting that first reply. Because the moment a lead replies to your number, everything changes. Carriers see you as a 2-way conversation and immediately treat your number differently. You're no longer a business broadcasting into the void, you're a person having a conversation. And that reputation compounds every single time it happens. But more importantly, a lead who replies is a lead who's engaged. That's who shows up. That's who converts. That's who commits. You cannot pitch to someone who never responded to you, and you can't get someone to commit to show up if they haven't responded to you. The reply is everything. So after that introduction that we talked about in point 6, your next text needs to be designed to get a response. And the easiest way to do that is the closed-ended question. something that they could answer literally in like one word. I'll give you an example of what we do at my company when a new lead opts into one of our ads. I start by saying something like, "Hey John, this is Tristan from SendBlue," add the 5-second delay so that the typing indicators appear in the conversation, and then I would ask something like, "Hey, I could send you a demo video here, yeah?" Simple, low friction, super easy for the lead to respond yes to, and that one reply was all I needed to start a real conversation. Number 8, you're optimizing for the wrong number. For the longest time, I was opening up my dashboard and staring at delivery rates like it meant something. High delivery rate, campaign must be working. And I genuinely believe that because that was the only number I had in front of me. Sent, delivered, maybe an open percentage. That was my entire view into how my campaigns were performing. And I was even making decisions based on that data for months. Turns out I was optimizing for the completely wrong thing. The data I actually needed wasn't even on my screen. Reply rates, time to reply, total number of replies, SMS versus iMessage replies broken down separately. Those are the stats that tell you whether your campaign is actually working, which leads are engaging, and exactly where your sequence is falling apart. Once I got access to that data and started optimizing for replies instead of delivery, everything looked different. Number 9, not all replies are equal. Once I started tracking replies, I made another mistake. I was counting all of them. Every stop, every not interested, every remove me was going into my numbers, and it was making my data useless. A campaign that got 50 replies sounds great until 30 of them were people opting out. The only replies that matter are positive ones. That's your real conversion signal. Filter everything else out and optimize for that number. Number 10, one reply is not enough. I used to get that first reply and think that was good enough for the algorithm. I genuinely thought that one reply was enough to signal to the system that I was a real person having a real conversation. So I'd get that first yes, get that first reply, and immediately go into offer mode. What I didn't know is that with iOS 26, Apple handed an enormous amount of control directly to your lead, and carrier filtering isn't even the biggest threat anymore. There's something far more dangerous that's sitting right inside of every text thread your lead opens: the report junk button. If they don't like your text, if they feel like it's automated, and if they feel like they're being sold to, one tap and you are done. Your number is poisoned permanently. But here's the fix, and this is something that almost nobody talks about. If you could get 3 replies from a lead, Apple removes the report junk button from that conversation entirely. Gone. 3 replies in iOS 26 stops treating you as a threat. So instead of pitching after the first reply, design your next 2 texts to keep the conversation going. Ask another question, respond like a human, get to 3, because those 3 replies don't just protect you, they build the kind of number reputation that makes every future campaign perform better. Number 11, they judge your number before reading a word. I used to just send from whatever phone number my platform assigned me. Different state, random area code, I didn't think twice about it. But your lead sees that area code before they even open your text. And an unfamiliar one from across the country is an instant signal that this is a marketing campaign. Nobody in their contact lists texts them from a 1-800 number or a random out-of-state number. Pick a local area code that matches where your leads are. That one detail makes your number look like it belongs on their phone before they even read a word. Number 12, that opt-out footer has to go. For the longest time, every single text I sent ended with reply stop to unsubscribe. And I tried everything to reword that line to make it less obvious to my lead. The thing is, the problem wasn't the phrasing, it's the line itself. The second that your lead sees some opt-out language in your texts, they know it's a marketing text. So their guard goes up and trust goes down. Didn't matter how good the message was above it. The reason that footer exists is because A2P SMS, the standard business texting channel, legally requires it. You just can't remove it. The only way out is to stop using A2P entirely and switch to a P2P iMessage channel like SendBlue instead. When you send an iMessage and an SMS text through SendBlue, it won't require the opt-out language, and it's the only software out there that works like that. And if you'd like to watch a full breakdown on how this is even possible, because it gets quite technical, you could check out this video that I'll tag on the screen either here or here that walks you through everything you need to know about the differences between A2P. Number 13, never send links. I used to drop links into all my SMS campaigns. I would add booking pages, product pages, videos, whatever it was, I'd put it right there in the first message. I even switched to shortened links thinking that would help but it just didn't. Links are the single biggest red flag to both carriers and leads. Carriers see a link in an outbound text and treat it as a potential scam, and so deliverability tanks. And even if it does get through, your lead sees a random URL from a number they don't know, and their gut reaction is to ignore it or to report it. Shortened links actually make it worse because now it looks like you're hiding where you're sending them. The fix is really simple. Never send a link until you get a reply. Once a lead has responded, the conversation is established and a link feels natural instead of suspicious. And when you do send it, make sure you use a software that lets you attach a thumbnail preview to the link, a title, and a visual that shows exactly what they're about to click on. Number 14, stop rewording, start reformatting. When a lead wasn't responding, I'd just keep following up with the same message using different words, plain text every time, and I kept wondering why the results were the same. The problem wasn't the words, it was the format. Leads who've ignored 2 or 3 plain texts from you have already mentally filed you as automated. Another plain text, no matter how well written, just confirms it. They see it coming before even opening it. So I stopped rewriting and started reformatting. I started to send voice messages and I started to send videos because suddenly there's a real voice and there's a real face attached to your follow-up. And that does something a plain text can never. It gets them curious. They want to hear what you sound like. They want to see who's actually been texting you. And that curiosity breaks the pattern and gets the open. Right inside of SendBlue, you could actually do this directly from your conversation panel on a lead's profile by clicking the file button to send out media like videos, or use this voice memo button to record yourself talking. And when you send these out, because you'll be using iMessage moving forward, these will show up as native attachments on your lead's phone, which makes the experience just so much more authentic for them. And yes, these could also be integrated into your automated text campaigns. In whichever workflow builder you use, whether that's make.com or if you use Zapier, Go High Level, or SendBlue's native one, you'll be able to pre-record videos and voice messages and send them out automatically in your campaign, which is just going to build so much trust with your leads. Number 15, automate the handshake, not the relationship. I used to set up automations for literally everything. The first text, the follow-ups, the responses, the whole sequence was on autopilot. I set it up once, let it run, and it felt like leverage. The problem is, the second your lead feels like they're talking to a script, the conversation dies, and they could feel it way faster than you think. The replies get shorter and they stop altogether because no one wants to build a relationship with a workflow. The fix isn't to ditch automation, it's to know exactly where it stops. Let automation handle the opening, the introduction, the first question, maybe even a predictable early reply if the lead gives you something simple back. But the moment that conversation starts showing real intent, curiosity, questions, objections, a real person needs to take over that inbox because that's where the deal actually happens. Sales is a relationship game and it always has been. And that means you need a setup that could do both. Run the automations when it should and let a real person jump in the moment it actually matters. Now, all 15 of these things are what separates the people who actually close deals through SMS from the ones who keep wondering why nobody's responding. But knowing this stuff is only half of it. The other half is having the right tool to actually put it into practice. Because none of this works if your platform can't handle iMessage, inbox management, workflows, and real conversation tracking all in one place. So click on the video on the screen where I break down the exact setup that I use so that you could start sending smarter, protecting your number reputation, and turning text campaigns into conversations that actually close. If you're serious about making SMS work for your business this year, I'll see you over there.